The iron hits her face. A scream tears out of Josephina before she can stop it. "Ah! My face! Somebody help me!" she chokes. She stumbles back into the fridge. The kitchen spins. Her cheek burns like fire is crawling under her skin. Nathaniel stands in front of her, chest heaving, the iron still in his hand. "You don't talk to me like that," he says, calm, almost bored. Cynthia leans against the sink, arms folded. "Boy, that was cute." Josephina presses her palm to her cheek. The heat is instant, skin already swelling. She pulls her hand away, red. "I asked you a question," Josephina says, voice shaking but steady enough. "Why are you taking my name off the accounts?" Nathaniel drops the iron on the counter. It slams down hard. "You're sick. You can't even stand straight some days. You think you can run properties?" "I built those properties," she snaps, "before you ever logged into Airbnb." Cynthia laughs, short, sharp. "You built them?" she says. "Look at you." Josephina keeps her eyes on Nathaniel. That's what gets him. He steps closer and grabs her arm. His fingers dig in deep. "You forgot who's been handling everything," he says. She tries to pull away. Her body's weak from chemo, but she doesn't stop fighting it. "No," she says, "you forgot whose name is on it." Something shifts in his face. Anger, real anger. The iron was already hot. He didn't think twice. Now her cheek throbs so hard she can hear her own pulse. Josephina slides down the fridge until she's sitting on the floor. The tile feels cold against her legs. Nathaniel runs a hand over his head, like he's the one stressed. "You see what you made me do?" he says. Cynthia walks over, picks up the iron, and finally unplugs it. "You push people, then you act surprised." Josephina looks up at them. "You're stealing from me," she says. Each word costs her something. "From my own company." Nathaniel laughs once. "Stealing?" he says. "I'm protecting assets. You're unstable." That word hits. He steps back like he's done explaining himself. "You need to rest before you start acting crazy again." Josephina grips the counter and pulls herself up. Her legs shake. The room tilts for a second. Chemo already drained her. This is something else. She walks past them without another word. Cynthia mutters, "She won't do nothing." Nathaniel answers, "She can't." Josephina hears that, every syllable. She walks down the hallway slowly, not weak, controlled. She reaches the guest room and closes the door behind her. She stands in front of the mirror. The mark is rising fast, angry red across her cheek, a clear outline where the iron touched her. Her eyes fill, but she doesn't cry. Not because she's strong, because she's thinking. And this time, she doesn't look scared.
Now you're probably wondering, what kind of husband presses a hot steaming iron on his cancerous wife? Yeah, that part. But slow down, because before the burn, before the chemo, before her husband's mistress Cynthia started standing in her kitchen, there was love, or at least something that looked like it. Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn, early morning. Josephina sits inside a beat-up 2004 Chevy Express van parked near a hardware store that don't open till 9. Laptop open, battery dying, Wi-Fi stealing from a cafe across the street. It's 6:11 a.m. Nathaniel is asleep in the back under a thin blanket. She's typing fast, refreshing the Airbnb page. No bookings. Again. Her jaw tightens. She opens another listing in Bushwick. Cheap rent, high risk, big upside. Nathaniel rolls over. "Come lay down," he mumbles. "One more listing," she says. She meant that. One more listing turned into 5. 5 turned into a plan. See, Josephina didn't marry comfort. She married potential. Back then, her husband, Nathaniel, had dreams, big talk, big energy, no structure. Josephina had structure. She had discipline. She had vision. Bushwick, Jefferson Street, 4 flights up, no elevator. She carrying towels in a blue IKEA bag like it's gold, sweat on her neck. The apartment smells like cleaning spray and old carpet. This isn't their apartment. It's their first Airbnb unit. Half empty, cheap blinds, scuffed floors, but she sees money. She sets the towels down like they matter, wipes the kitchen counter again, checks the bathroom sink for water stains. Nathaniel leans against the doorframe. "You really think strangers gonna pay for this?" he says. She doesn't stop moving. "She not paying for this," she says. "They paying for how we run it." He watches her tuck hospital corners into the bed like she works at a 5-star hotel. She steps back, studies the room. "It's not about what it is," she says. "It's about what it becomes." That's who she was. Not loud, not flashy, certain. That same week, their first guest leaves a review. 5 stars. She was warm, professional, felt like family. Josephina reads it inside the van like it's scripture. Nathaniel grins. "We lit," he says. She laughs and leans into him. "We buildin'," she corrects. Small difference, big meaning. Months go by. They move from the van to a basement spot near Nostrand Avenue. Low ceilings, one tiny window, but it's theirs. Josephina runs the whole thing from a folding table, guest messages, cleaning schedules, pricing adjustments. Nathaniel helps sometimes, but sometimes he's late. Sometimes he forgets towels. Sometimes he forgets to show up at all. Josephina covers everything. It's a growing business, she tells guests. She never embarrasses him, not once. Fort Greene, weekend check-in. A guest pulls Nathaniel aside. "You the brains behind this?" Nathaniel hesitates, then smiles. "Yeah, something like that." Josephina hears it. She doesn't react. She keeps setting the welcome basket, but something small lands in her chest. Not pain, not yet, just a note. That night on Lafayette Avenue, she brings it up. "Why'd you say that?" He shrugs. "It ain't serious." "It is to me." He steps closer. "Why you always gotta run everything?" She blinks. "I'm not running, I'm working." He laughs. "Same thing." That word sticks. Run, control, respect. Years pass. Crown Heights now. Better apartment, hardwood floors, light coming through big windows on St. Mark's Avenue. Spreadsheets taped on the wall, revenue targets, growth charts. She's proud. Nathaniel stares at the numbers. "You serious about all this?" he asks. "I want stability," she says. He looks out the window. "You really think you better than me?" That's the first time she hears it clear. Insecurity. She turns slowly. "I'm building for us." But he don't hear us. He hears only you. Downtown Brooklyn, J Street, entrepreneur mixer. Josephina speaks on a small panel about short-term rentals. She breaks down strategy, automation, guest retention. The room nods. Afterward, people crowd her. "You smart. You scaled fast. How did you start?" Nathaniel stands near the snack table, clapping late. A man pats Nathaniel on the back. "You lucky, bro. She's amazing." Lucky? That word hits different. That night back home, he sits across from her. "You changin' lately," he says. "How?" she asks. "You don't need me like before." She stops typing. "I always needed you." She meant that, but something inside him had already started shrinking. Weeks later, they cross 6 figures in revenue. She screams, "We did it!" He hugs her, but his eyes aren't on her. They're on the screen, on the dashboard, on her name listed as primary host. He pulls back. "You should put my name first, too." She nods without thinking. Of course. Trust is easy when you love somebody. That afternoon, she walks down Franklin Avenue for coffee. When she comes back, Nathaniel was sitting at the laptop, screen angled away. He closes a tab quick. "What you doing?" he says. "Organizing." She smiles. "Thank you." She goes to the kitchen. He reopens the settings, clicks into account details, changes primary host, deletes her notification email, saves. From the kitchen, she calls out, "Honey, you want almond milk or oat?" He looks at the screen. His name now first. Oat, he says, voice steady. Sunlight hits the window. Nothing dramatic, no music, no warning, just a small digital shift, the beginning of ownership changing hands. Josephina walks back with 2 mugs, hands him one, smiles, and she never notices. She just got erased for the first time, not with fire, with a click. And sometimes that's how it starts.
Can we get a picture with you? Josephina smiles. It's Saturday afternoon at a co-working space on J Street in downtown Brooklyn. Exposed brick walls, folding chairs packed tight. A banner behind her reads, Black Founders Meetup. She stands near the stage, shaking hands. Nathaniel stands beside her, one hand in his pocket, watching. "You're inspiring," a young woman says. "Seeing a black woman build like this, it means something." Josephina nods. "Thank you," she says. "We just stayed consistent." The woman turns to Nathaniel. "And you're her husband? That's amazing." Nathaniel smiles. "Yeah, I'm behind the scenes." The woman laughs lightly. "Support system matters." She walks away. Nathaniel's jaw tightens. Behind the scenes. The phrase sits wrong. Later that afternoon, they step out onto J Street. Sunlight reflects off the glass towers. Josephina scrolls through her phone. "Look," she says, "they tagged us." Nathaniel glances at the screen. Caption reads, "She built a real empire in Brooklyn." He keeps walking. "People exaggerate," he says. Josephina looks at him. "Why you sound like that?" "Like what?" "Like you mad." He shrugs. "I'm not mad." But he is. They reach their high-rise building near Tillery Street. The doorman nods at Josephina first. "Afternoon, Miss Josephina." Nathaniel walks in behind her. The doorman adds, "And Mr.—" Nathaniel forces a smile. "Nathaniel." The elevator doors close. Silence fills the space. Josephina presses the 28th floor. "You overthinking things," she says gently. "Am I?" he asks. She looks confused. He looks at the numbers lighting up as they rise. 28. Ding! Inside the apartment, sunlight pours across the glass balcony. Brooklyn Bridge visible in the distance. Josephina walks straight to the dining table, laptop open, bookings stacked for the week. She is glowing, excited. "Honey, we just secured the Park Slope brownstone for summer." He sets his keys down slowly. "You already signed it?" She pauses. "Yeah, I sent you the numbers." "I didn't approve that." Her smile fades. "We talked about it." "You talked," he says. "You didn't ask." She stares at him. "I thought we were aligned." Nathaniel steps toward the balcony, hands on hips. "You making moves like I'm just extra." She walks closer. "That's not fair." He turns around fast. "Is it not?" Silence. Heavy. She looks smaller now. Not physically, but emotionally. Later that week, they attend another event in Fort Greene. Outdoor networking mixer near Myrtle Avenue. Josephina stands in a circle with investors, explaining expansion plans. Nathaniel stands just outside the group. A man in a tailored suit says to her, "You got real leadership presence." Josephina smiles. "Thank you." The man adds, "I remind me of my sister. She runs her company solo, too." Solo? Nathaniel hears it. His chest tightens. He steps in suddenly. "We're partners," he says. The group looks at him. A short pause. One investor nods politely. "Of course." But his eyes go back to Josephina. She keeps talking, confident, clear. Nathaniel steps back again, invisible. On the walk home down Fulton Street, he doesn't speak. Josephina reaches for his hand. He lets her hold it, but his grip is loose. At home, she checks her phone again. More comments, more praise, more tags. She built this. Black girl magic. CEO energy. Nathaniel stands behind her, looking over her shoulder.
He reads every word. He sees how the world sees her. He doesn't like it. That night, she falls asleep on the couch with her laptop open, exhausted, still working. Nathaniel stands over her, watching her breathe. His face is calm, but his mind is planning, calculating. The next morning, downtown Brooklyn, Josephina meets a property manager near Court Street. Nathaniel stays home. She closes another deal, signs paperwork, smiling. When she returns to the apartment, Nathaniel is at the dining table, stacks of printed documents spread out. "What's this?" she asks. "New structure." "For what?" "For the business." She scans the papers, LLC amendments, updated operating agreement. She looks up. "When did we talk about this?" He leans back in the chair. "We're talking now." Her heart starts to race. "I don't understand." "You move in too fast," he says. "We need protection." "Protection from what?" He holds her gaze. "From you getting sick, from you burning out, from you making emotional decisions." Her mouth opens slightly. "Emotional? You're tired all the time. You don't see it." She takes a slow breath, trying to stay calm. "I'm fine." "You not," he says, "and I can't let everything collapse because you don't know when to stop." That lands hard. She looks at the paperwork again. Her name is still there, but something feels different. "What does this change?" she asks. He gives a small smile. "Nothing major." Too smooth, too easy. She studies him. For the first time, Josephina feels unsure. She picks up one page. Her eyes scan the lines. Then she freezes. There, in small print, primary managing member, Nathaniel Brooks. She blinks, looks up slowly. "I thought we were equal." Nathaniel doesn't flinch. "We are," he says, but he doesn't correct it, and he doesn't look nervous. He looks prepared.
Josephina was never used to nap. She used to move fast, 4 properties in one day. Park Slope in the morning, Bed-Stuy by noon, downtown Brooklyn by night, calls, emails, turnovers, cleaning crews, contractors. Now she's staring at the same email for 10 minutes. Nathaniel walks in and sees her asleep, head tilted back, mouth slightly open. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. He doesn't wake her. He just stands there, watching. Later that night, she throws up in the bathroom. She blames the takeout. Next week, she misses a showing. That never happens. She forgets a client's name. That really never happens. Her body feels heavy, like she's walking through wet cement. "You need to slow down," Nathaniel says one morning while she's tying her shoes. "I'm fine," she says, but she isn't. She starts leaving meetings early, starts canceling podcast invites, starts choosing the couch over her laptop. One night, she tries to stand up and the room spins. She grabs the kitchen counter. "Nate!" He's there quick this time. "You okay?" She nods, but she's scared. The first doctor says it might be stress. The second says they need more tests, blood work, scans, more appointments. She hates the waiting part more than anything. They sit in a quiet room at NYU Langone in Manhattan, March 14th, 10:20 a.m. The doctor comes in with a folder, doesn't smile. That's when she knows. "Josephina, it's cervical cancer." Her ears ring. Stage 3, aggressive. Treatment needs to start right away. Radiation, chemo, possibly surgery. The doctor keeps talking, but she's not really hearing him. She's thinking about her properties, about the bookings lined up for summer, about the expansion plan, about how she was just fine 2 months ago. Nathaniel squeezes her hand. "What are her chances?" he asks. His voice sounds shaky. Maybe it is. The doctor gives numbers, percentages. None of them feel solid. Josephina nods like she understands, but all she hears is stage 3. The ride back to Brooklyn feels quiet, too quiet. Cars move, people cross streets, a delivery truck double parks. Life looks normal. She feels like she's outside her own body.
At home, she goes straight to the bathroom, looks at herself in the mirror. Same face, same hair, same woman, but something inside her is trying to kill her. Nathaniel stands in the doorway. "I'm here," he says. She nods, but something about the way he says it feels measured, like he's choosing words carefully. Treatment starts fast, radiation first, then chemo. The tiredness gets worse, not regular tired, bone tired. She falls asleep mid-sentence one afternoon while talking about bookings. Nathaniel gently closes her laptop. "I'll handle it," he says. She doesn't argue. At first, it feels like love. He answers emails, handles guest complaints, talks to cleaners, takes calls. He starts learning everything: access codes, bank accounts, vendor contacts. She gives him passwords because she's too exhausted to argue. "I trust you," she says. He nods. 3 weeks in, her hair starts coming out, not all at once, just strands at first, then clumps. She stands in the bathroom, staring at the brush, her chest tight. Nathaniel walks in, sees the sink. "It's just hair," he says. She looks at him. "Just?" He shrugs lightly. "It'll grow back." He sounds calm, too calm. The business slows. Guests send polite messages. "So sorry to hear this. Praying for you. We'll reschedule." Some don't reschedule. Nathaniel takes over refunds, over decisions, over everything. "You need to focus on getting better," he tells her. She wants to argue, but she's so tired. One afternoon, she tries to log in to the business account from her laptop. Password doesn't work. She frowns, tries again. Still nothing. "Nate?" she calls. He walks in from the balcony. "Yeah? Did the password change?" "Yeah," he says smoothly. "Security reasons." She pauses. "Why didn't you tell me? You've got enough going on." She studies his face. He looks steady, confident, comfortable. She feels something twist in her stomach. Not nausea, something else. Later that evening, she wakes up from a nap on the couch. Nathaniel is at the dining table, papers spread out. He closes a folder when he sees her awake. "What's that?" she asks. "Just organizing stuff." She nods, but when he walks to the kitchen, his phone lights up on the table. An email notification pops up from a law office in Manhattan. Subject line: operating agreement, final copy. Her heart slows. She picks up the phone. Her name isn't anywhere in the preview, just his. "Nathaniel." He turns, calm, too calm. She holds up the phone. "What is this?" For a second, he says nothing, and in that silence, she realizes that cancer might not be the only thing trying to take her life apart.
Cynthia started as a name on an email, then a copied thread, then a suggestion. Then she was everywhere. Josephina noticed it one afternoon after chemo. She was on the couch again, blanket over her legs, laptop open but untouched. Her body felt drained, not sleepy, just empty. Nathaniel was at the dining table, talking, not to her, to Cynthia. "That makes sense," he said. "Yeah, we'll restructure that." "Restructure?" Josephina lifted her head. "Who's we?" she asked. He covered the phone. "Me and Cynthia." "She's still consulting, right?" Josephina asks. He pauses. "Yeah, but we talked about bringing her in deeper." "We talked?" she says. "I mentioned it." She studies his face. "Doing what, exactly?" "Operations, systems, vendor management. She knows how to structure scale." "I've been structuring scale," Josephina says. He sighs. "Not like this." Her jaw tightens. "Like what?" "Like a real company. Investors, partnerships, bigger moves. And I'm not capable of that?" "You're exhausted," he says, softer now. "Let her handle the heavy lift while you focus on treatment." Focus on treatment. It sounds caring, but it also sounds like removal. Josephina leans back slowly. "So she's operations now?" "Temporary," he says. "Temporary?" That word hangs between them. He goes back to the phone. Josephina doesn't sit back down.
because something just shifted, and she felt it. Cynthia didn't show up loud this time. No red dress, no big entrance. She came in neutral, blazer, laptop, polite smile. "You look good," Cynthia said when she saw Josephina. Josephina knew that wasn't true. Her scarf covered her head. Her skin looked dull. She hadn't had energy for makeup in days. But she nodded anyway. Cynthia sat at the table like she'd been there before, started talking numbers, occupancy rates, vendor renegotiations, brand positioning. Josephina tried to follow, but her head felt cloudy. Every time she asked a question, Cynthia answered fast, too fast, like she'd already discussed it with Nathaniel. At one point, Cynthia turned to him and said, "I'll send you the revised operating draft." "Operating draft?" Josephina's eyes lifted. "What draft?" Nathaniel didn't look at her. "Just tightening paperwork?" She stared at him. "We never needed tightening before." He finally looked up. That was before. The chemo got worse. Some mornings she couldn't get off the couch. Her joints hurt. Her mouth tasted metallic. Food didn't sit right. Nathaniel started controlling her med schedule. "I'll set alarms," he said. He brought her water, brought her pills, watched her swallow. At first it felt caring, then it felt monitored. Cynthia started coming over when Josephina was at treatment. Josephina found out by accident. She came in early one day. Appointment got canceled. She walked in quiet. He didn't hear her. Cynthia was at the table. Nathaniel standing close behind her chair. Too close. They were laughing. Not business laughing. Comfortable laughing. Josephina cleared her throat. They separated quick. Too quick. "Oh, you're back," Cynthia said. "I live here," Josephina replied. Cynthia's smile thin. "Of course." Nathaniel walked toward Josephina like he was managing a situation. "We were just reviewing expansion plans." "Expansion?" Josephina felt heat rise in her chest. Then the punishment started. Nathaniel moved her desk from the main room into the spare room. "Just simplify the space," he said. He stopped looping her into vendor calls. "She needs rest," he'd tell people. He started correcting her in front of Cynthia. "Josephina forgot that detail. Josephina's not fully up to speed." Every time he said her name like that, it chipped something. Cynthia watched it happen, never interrupting, just observing. One evening, Josephina tried to join a Zoom investor meeting. Nathaniel muted her. "Your connection's unstable," he said. It wasn't. After the call, she said, "Why did you mute me? You were rambling. I built this company." "And now you're tired," he said. Not loud, not angry, just factual, like he was stating the weather. The real shift hit a week later. Josephina was folding laundry when she heard them in the kitchen. Cynthia's voice low. "You can't wait too long. Investors want stability." "I know," Nathaniel said. "And stability doesn't look like chemo appointments and uncertainty." Josephina stopped moving. Her hands froze on the towel. "Uncertainty?" She stepped closer to the hallway. "You deserve full control," Cynthia said. "You've been carrying this all alone." Josephina felt her chest tighten. Nathaniel didn't argue. He didn't defend her. He just said, "I'm working on it." Working on it? On what? Replacing her? Erasing her? That night, Josephina couldn't sleep. Her body hurt, but her mind was sharp. Nathaniel was in the shower. His phone lit up on the nightstand. She wasn't even looking for it. It just caught her eye. Message from Cynthia. "You did good today. She's fading." Josephina read it again. She's fading. Her stomach turned. The bathroom door opened. Nathaniel walked out, drying his hair. He saw the phone in her hand. Their eyes locked. He expected weakness, tears, breakdown. Instead, Josephina sat up straighter, slow, deliberate. "I'm not fading." Her voice wasn't loud, but it wasn't weak either. For the first time since the diagnosis, Nathaniel looked unsure.
Josephina didn't realize she'd been moved until she opened her eyes. The ceiling looked wrong. Smaller. No balcony light, no skyline. She pushed herself up slowly. Her body felt heavy, like someone had poured sand inside her bones. She looked around. Guest room. Her scarf lay on the nightstand, a bottle of nausea pills beside it. Her chest tightened. She walked down the hall, slow, careful. The master bedroom door was open. Her side of the closet was half empty. Nathaniel was in there, folding her dresses into a box. "What are you doing?" she asked. He didn't stop. "You need quiet, closer to the bathroom." "That's not the reason," she interrupted. He finally looked at her. "You can barely make it up the hallway without stopping." "That's my room." It was. The word hit harder than it should have. "It still is," she said. He straightened up. "You can't keep fighting everything. You're not strong right now." There it was. Not strong, not capable, not equal, just sick. She leaned against the doorframe because the room started tilting. Not from chemo, from the way he said it. Slowly, Cynthia finally moved in, replacing Josephina completely. Nathaniel stopped asking her opinion. He'd say, "Cynthia and I have decided," instead of, "What do you think?" Cynthia started correcting her, publicly. "Actually, Josephina, the numbers show a decline. Actually, we discussed restructuring that." Every actually chipped at her. One afternoon, they had a call with a property owner in Park Slope. Josephina tried to speak. Nathaniel muted her the second time. She stared at the screen. After the call, she said, "Why did you mute me? I was explaining the strategy." "You're foggy," he said. "It happens with chemo." Cynthia sat there quiet, watching, not defending her, not disagreeing, just letting it sit. Josephina's body kept betraying her. Some mornings she couldn't hold a cup without her hand shaking. One evening, Josephina tried to review contracts. Nathaniel closed her laptop. "Enough," he said. "I'm not a child." "You're not thinking clearly." Cynthia added softly, "We're trying to protect what you built." Protect? It sounded kind, but it felt like a lock clicking. The humiliation got worse. Cynthia started sitting in Josephina's old seat at the dining table. Nathaniel didn't notice, or pretended not to. Packages began arriving addressed to Brooks Holdings. Attention, Nathaniel Brooks and Cynthia Hale. Not her. Never her. One afternoon, Josephina walked into the kitchen and heard Cynthia laughing. "I told the investors you're the steady one," Cynthia said to Nathaniel. "They like that." Steady? Josephina stood there, invisible. Nathaniel replied, "It's all ours now. She can't handle pressure anymore." Josephina felt something crack inside her. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet breaking. The final shift came with the bank. She tried using her debit card for a pharmacy pickup. Declined. She tried again. Declined. She came home confused. "Nate, my card." He didn't look up from his phone. "I moved the funds into the new account." "What new account?" "The business account." "I didn't approve that." "You weren't in shape to approve anything," he shot back. Cynthia was at the table, silent, watching, not defending her, not disagreeing, just letting it sit. Josephina's body kept betraying her. Nathaniel continued, "You think this is easy for me, carrying everything, watching you fade." Fade?
There it was again. Josephina felt small, her body weak, her head spinning, but her eyes stayed locked at his. "I'm sick," she said, "not gone." Nathaniel's jaw locked. "You don't understand," he said. "Investors don't sit around waiting on a sick face to represent the brand." Cynthia crossed her arms, fake soft voice. "Baby, that ain't personal. That's just business." "Business?" Josephina let out a small laugh, dry, tired, almost crazy. It surprised all three of them. "Oh," she said slowly, "so that's what we calling this now." Nathaniel stepped closer, lowered his voice. "You should be grateful we're holding this together." "We?" "Not you, not us. We." Him and Cynthia. Josephina looked from one to the other. They weren't even hiding it anymore. Not the alliance, not the control, not the way they stood on the same side of the room. For the first time since the diagnosis, Josephina understood something clearly. The cancer was attacking her body, but Nathaniel and Cynthia were attacking her identity. And the worst part, she had handed them access, passwords, authority, trust. Now she stood in her own apartment, in the smaller bedroom, with no control over her company, no access to her money, and a husband who defended another woman in front of her without blinking. Josephina felt weak. Yes, but weakness isn't the same as finished. And as she watched them sit there, comfortable, confident, united, something inside her stopped breaking and started thinking.
Josephina stopped wearing the scarf because it was too hot. Her scalp burned in the summer heat. Sweat made the fabric itch. She just wanted air on her skin for once. That was all it took. Cynthia noticed right away. They were in the kitchen, afternoon light coming through the blinds. Josephina was leaning on the counter, waiting for soup to warm up. Her stomach had been wrecked all week. Cynthia stared, didn't blink. Then she laughed. "Whoa," she said, "you really walking around like that?" Josephina kept her back turned. "Like what?" Cynthia pushed off the counter and came closer. "Like a peeled egg." She laughed at her own joke. Nathaniel was at the table scrolling through his phone. He heard it. He didn't say anything. Josephina turned slowly. "I'm still me," she said. Cynthia tilted her head. Debatable. Silence. Josephina looked at Nathaniel, waiting. He glanced up. His eyes moved over her head. Then he looked back down. "You could at least wear the scarf. It's uncomfortable." "Uncomfortable for who?" she asked. "For everyone," he replied. That one hurt. Not loud, not dramatic, just cold. It didn't stop there. Later that week, Josephina went to take her meds. The pill bottle wasn't in the bathroom cabinet. Cynthia had secretly hid it in the freezer. Josephina checked her bag. Nothing. She walked into the living room. "Did either of you move my medication?" Nathaniel didn't look up from the TV. "No." Cynthia sat on the couch painting her nails. "Maybe you forgot where you put it," she said lightly. "I keep it in the same place." Cynthia shrugged. "Chemo brain?" Josephina stood there for a second. Her heart started beating faster. "I need those." Nathaniel sighed like she was interrupting something important. "Then find them." She searched the apartment for 20 minutes. Cabinets, drawers, closet shelves, nothing. Her hands started shaking. She went back to the kitchen. "Stop playing," she said. "Where are they?" Cynthia blew on her nails. "Why you assuming it's us?" Nathaniel muted the TV slowly. "You're accusing us now? My meds don't just disappear." Nathaniel stared at her. Then he stood up, walked to the fridge, opened the freezer, reached behind a bag of frozen vegetables, pulled out the pill bottle. Ice crystals stuck to it. He set it on the counter. "You left it in here," he said flat.
Josephina stared at the bottle. "I would never," he cut in. "You're not thinking straight lately." Cynthia smiled without looking up. Josephina picked up the bottle. It was freezing. She looked at Cynthia. "You put it in there." She held her gaze. "Then prove it." The next day, Cynthia handed her a laundry basket, full. "You mind folding these?" she said. "My back's killing me." Josephina looked at the pile. "That's all yours." "And?" Cynthia said. Josephina's legs already felt weak. "I'm not your maid." Nathaniel walked in mid-sentence. "What's the problem now?" Cynthia said, "She doesn't want to help. I've been doing everything." Josephina blinked. "Everything?" "I can barely stand for long," Josephina said. Nathaniel crossed his arms. "You're home all day." "I'm sick," Josephina said again. "You're not dying," he snapped. That shut the room down. Josephina swallowed hard. "You don't know that." He stepped closer. "You use that word like a weapon, every time something doesn't go your way." Cynthia picked up the basket and dropped it at Josephina's feet. "Just fold the clothes," she said. "Nobody's asking you to run a marathon." Josephina bent down slowly. Her knees hurt. Her back screamed. She sat on the floor and started folding. They went back to talking, like she wasn't there, like she was staff. It got worse after that. They'd cook and leave dishes stacked in the sink. "Since you're up," Cynthia would say. Nathaniel started asking her to handle small stuff. Call maintenance, organize paperwork, clean out closets. Every task came with the same tone, like she owed them. One afternoon, Josephina was wiping down the bathroom sink when a wave of dizziness hit her. She gripped the counter, breathed through it. Nathaniel walked past the open door, eyes scanning her like she was nothing. "Keep working," he said, voice flat. "Cancer patient work. Excuses make you lazy." She nodded, saying nothing. He paused, catching her reflection in the mirror. His lips twisted slightly. "You look rough," he said, slow, deliberate. "Cynthia, she'd never look like this." Josephina's stomach twisted. Her jaw clenched, but she didn't answer. He shrugged, turned on his heel, and walked away, leaving her staring at herself, weak, exposed, and burning with silent rage. That night, she heard them laughing in the master bedroom again, not even trying to be quiet, music playing. Josephina walked down the hallway. The door wasn't fully closed. She didn't mean to stop, but she did. Cynthia was sitting at the edge of the bed, wearing Josephina's old t-shirt, the one from their first property launch party. Nathaniel was behind her, rubbing her shoulders, comfortable, relaxed. Cynthia looked at her nails. "I'm just saying," she said, "you gotta move faster." "I am," Nathaniel replied. "Then why's she still here?" "She's weak," Nathaniel said. "It's easier this way." Josephina felt her stomach drop. Cynthia leaned back against him. "You transferred the last account?" "Almost." "And she doesn't know?" "She won't," he said. Cynthia smiled without looking up. "What about the meds?" Nathaniel let out a short laugh. "She'll survive." Josephina stepped back. Her chest felt tight, not from sickness, from clarity. The next morning, Cynthia tossed her a sponge. "Go clean the car." Josephina froze, staring at it. "Why are you doing this?" Cynthia tilted her head, slow, deliberate. "Doing what?" You enjoy this." Cynthia stepped closer, voice low, sharp. "You used to drive around like you owned everything." Josephina's eyes narrowed. "I did," she said, steady. Cynthia smiled, cold. "Not anymore." Nathaniel walked in just in time to hear that. He didn't correct her. Instead, he said, "Don't start drama today." Josephina looked between them. Something settled inside her. Not anger, not fear, something colder. "You think I'm weak," she said quietly. Nathaniel shrugged. "You can't even keep your pills straight." Cynthia laughed. Josephina picked up the sponge, started scrubbing, slow, quiet. Let them think what they wanted. Let them hide things. Let them move money. Let them laugh. because humiliation does something. It strips you, burns off ego, burns off hope, burns off love. What's left? Focus. And Josephina was done begging for decency. That night, when the apartment finally went quiet, she opened her laptop. Not in the living room, not at the kitchen table, on the floor of the guest room, back against the wall. She logged into an account Nathaniel forgot existed, one he never had access to. Her face was pale in the screen light, her head bare, her hands steady. "They think I won't fight," she said to herself. Down the hall, Cynthia laughed at something on TV. Nathaniel joined in, comfortable, careless. Josephina clicked download. Every transfer, every change, every signature, saved, documented.
Thursday, late morning, Crown Heights. Cynthia in the kitchen like she owned it. Silk blouse, laptop open, phone on speaker. "Yeah, send the revised numbers to me," she says. "Not Nathaniel, me." Josephina standing by the sink washing dishes. Not her house-style dishes. Paper plates from last night still greasy. Wine glasses she didn't drink from. Cynthia covers the phone. "Make sure you scrub that pan good. I hate when it smells like old grease." Josephina doesn't answer. Nathaniel's sitting at the table, quiet, watching the exchange like it's normal. Cynthia unmutes. "And move the payroll to my email. I'll handle it from now on." Josephina freezes. Payroll. That used to be hers. She dries her hands slow. "Why payroll going to you?" Cynthia mutes again, looks at Nathaniel. He doesn't look at Josephina. "You can't manage it right now. You barely managing yourself." That hit. Josephina stands straighter, weak body, but pride still there. "I built this from nothing, from Airbnb cleaning, from carrying towels in IKEA bags. Don't act like I'm some guest." Cynthia smiles, not loud, just mean. "Girl, you not even on the bank account no more." Silence. Josephina looks at Nathaniel. He still won't look at her. "That's temporary," Josephina says. "Temporary? Why I ain't know." Cynthia stands, walks around the island slow. "You was in chemo, bald, throwing up, crying. We had to step up." Josephina feels that word in her stomach. Cynthia gets closer. "And let's be honest," she says, looking at Josephina's bare head. "You don't even look like the face of no company no more." Nathaniel exhales like he tired. Josephina swallows. Her hands shake. She reaches for the iron on the counter. She was pressing a shirt earlier, Cynthia's shirt. She meant to move it out the way. Nathaniel grabs it first. "You always dramatic," she says. "I'm dramatic?" Voice cracking now. "You got her running my accounts." "Our accounts," Cynthia corrects. Josephina steps forward. "Give me my access back." Nathaniel steps closer too, the iron still hot in his hand. "Stop," he says low. Cynthia stood behind Nathaniel, arms folded. "Remind her where she at." Not loud, not joking, a command. Josephina felt it, that tone, that shift. Nathaniel looked at her slow, different now, cold. She stepped forward anyway. "Put my name back on the account, tonight." Her voice shook, but she stood there. Cynthia laughed under her breath. She still thinks she got authority. Josephina ignored her. "I built this with you," she said to Nathaniel. "Before her, before any of this." Nathaniel pulled the iron up, still hot, cord dragging behind it. "You built it? You?" He walked toward her. Not rushed, not out of control, measured. "You're a devil," Josephina spat. "I trusted you, loved you, gave you everything, and this is what I get? Betrayal, your mistress, my life stolen." She didn't flinch this time. "You needed me," she said. "You still do." That made his jaw clench. "Don't talk to me like that, in my house." He lifted the iron, not high, just enough, pressed it to her face, slow, deliberate. Her scream tore out before she could stop it. Pain flared across her cheek. She dropped to her knees. The smell hit, burning skin. Cynthia covered her mouth, not shocked, just observing.
Nathaniel set the iron back on the board like a job done. No apology, no hesitation, just finished. Josephina held her face, rocking slightly. Tears poured down. He looked down at her. "You don't challenge me," he said. "No panic, no apology, just a rule being enforced." Cynthia grabbed paper towels and wiped the counter where steam had sprayed. "You dramatic as hell. Look what you made him do." Josephina looked up at Nathaniel, her face red and swelling already. He didn't look away. "You not running nothing no more, you hear me?" She stared at him, not crying now, just staring. That stare made him uncomfortable. "Go clean yourself up," he snapped. Josephina stood slowly, walked toward the bathroom. He stepped in front of her. "Not out there. You not about to have neighbors asking questions." Questions, image, reputation. That's what he cared about. She turned without arguing, went into the guest room, closed the door, locked it. In the mirror, the burn was rising fast, angry, swelling, shiny, permanent. She pressed a cold towel to it and bit down on the inside of her cheek to stay quiet. From the hallway, she heard Josephina. "You went too far," she said, but there was no fear in it. "She ain't calling nobody," Nathaniel replied, calm, certain. "She don't got nowhere to go." Josephina sat on the edge of the bed, breathing steady now, letting the pain settle. They had already erased her in their heads, moved her to the guest room, moved her out the bedroom, moved her out the house. Now they wanted her out the house. The door opened without knocking. Cynthia walked in holding a plate. Cold leftovers, half a piece of chicken, rice stuck to the side. "Eat," she said. "You look pathetic." Josephina didn't reach for it. Cynthia set it on the dresser anyway. "Don't leave a mess on the sheets. Those mine now." Josephina stared at the plate, then at the lock on the door, then at her tote bag. She reached for it slowly, opened it. Copies of everything. Original LLC papers, investor contracts, signatures, her name, primary owner, majority share. She ran her fingers across the ink. In the living room, Cynthia laughed. Nathaniel laughed with her, like they had already won. Josephina pressed the cold towel harder against her face. The pain was sharp, clear, alive. "They think I'm done," she said softly. Down the hall, Cynthia's voice floated through. "By next month, everything in our name." Nathaniel didn't correct her. Josephina looked at herself in the mirror again. Burned, bald, weak body, clear eyes. They wrote her off. They thought she wouldn't fight, that she couldn't. She closed the folder carefully, slid it back into the bag, sat there in the quiet, not crying, not shaking, planning.
Josephina didn't sit there planning long. She moved, quiet, fast as her body would allow. She shoved the documents into her tote bag, grabbed her phone charger, a hoodie, nothing else. No suitcase, no drama. From the living room, she heard Cynthia laughing again, Nathaniel's voice low, comfortable, like nothing happened. Josephina opened the guest room window first. Locked, paint sealed at the edges, too loud. She went to the door instead, cracked it open, listened. The TV was on now, some reality show, Cynthia talking over it. Josephina slipped into the hallway, not toward the front, toward the kitchen, the back door. Her cheek throbbed, every step made it pulse. She grabbed her sneakers from beside the laundry closet and didn't bother tying them. Hands shaking. She opened the back door slow. The hinge creaked. She froze. Nothing. No footsteps. She stepped out into the narrow alley behind the building and closed the door soft. Didn't run at first, just walked. Fast. Heart pounding so hard she could hear it. Once she hit the corner, she ran. Past trash bags, past parked cars, past a kid riding a scooter who stared at her face too long. She didn't look back. She hit the main street. Brooklyn loud like always. Cars, music from somebody's car, people arguing outside a deli. Nobody knew what just happened upstairs. Nobody cared. Her breathing got rough quick. Chemo still in her system, body weak. Her legs felt heavy. She slowed, then sped up again when she thought she heard a door slam behind her.
She turned her head. Nobody chasing her, but fear don't need proof. She kept moving. Her vision started to blur at the edges, black spots. Her face burned under the sun, sweat rolled down her neck. She wiped at her cheek and winced. The world tilted for a second. She grabbed a light pole to steady herself. "Keep going," she muttered. "One more block, just one more." She crossed the street without waiting for the light. A car honked. She stumbled on the curb. Her knee hit the sidewalk hard. Pain shot up her leg. She tried to stand. Her body didn't cooperate. Her chest tightened. Breath wouldn't come in deep enough. She sat there on the edge of the sidewalk, dizzy, shaking. People walked around her. Josephina tried to push herself up again. Her arms gave out. She dropped back down. The sky looked too bright, too wide. Her hearing felt far away. Then a truck slowed near the curb. Old Nissan pickup, engine rumbling. She barely noticed. The driver's door opened. Heavy footsteps coming toward her. Hey, you all right?" A woman's voice, older, firm. Josephina tried to answer. Nothing came out right. The woman crouched down in front of her, saw the burn. Her expression changed. Not shock, anger. "Who did that to you?" Josephina blinked slow, tried to focus. "Can't go back," she managed. The woman didn't ask more questions. She slid one arm under Josephina's shoulders. "Come on," she said, "up." Josephina's legs barely worked. The woman half carried her to the truck, opened the passenger door, helped her in, closed it, walked around to the driver's side. Josephina leaned her head back against the seat. The truck pulled away from the curb. Josephina's eyes fluttered. "You got somewhere safe?" the woman asked. Josephina shook her head faintly. "No." The woman nodded once. "All right," she said. "You do now." Josephina looked out the window as the block disappeared behind them. She didn't know this woman, didn't know where she was going, but she knew one thing. She wasn't going back. Not burned, not broken, not erased. As the truck turned the corner, her phone started vibrating inside her bag. Nathaniel's name lighting up the screen, over and over. She didn't reach for it. She let it ring.
The truck didn't stop until Queens. Not the fancy part. A quiet block with small houses and tight driveways. Sarah killed the engine and looked at Josephina. "My name's Sarah Coleman," she said. "Retired nurse, used to be a midwife, 30 years in hospitals. Now I run a women's foundation, New Dawn." She nodded toward the house. "That's mine." Josephina barely had strength to respond. Sarah helped her inside. The house wasn't glamorous, but it was clean, organized. Medical supplies stacked on shelves, folding beds, filing cabinets. 2 women in scrubs looked up. "What happened?" one asked. "Burn," Sarah said, "and exhaustion." They moved quick. Cold compress, burn cream, pain meds, blood pressure cuff tight around Josephina's arm. Her numbers low, too low. "Dehydrated," Sarah muttered, and stressed out her mind. Josephina drifted in and out while they worked. When she finally opened her eyes steady, she was in a small back room, fan running, clean sheets, her cheek wrapped light. Sarah sat in a chair across from her, watching. "You safe here," Sarah said. Josephina swallowed. Then it came out. Everything. The business, the bank accounts moved, the iron turned partner. The iron. Sarah didn't interrupt, didn't gasp, just listened. When Josephina finished, the room was quiet. "You want to go to police?" Sarah asked. Josephina stared at the ceiling. "If I go back, he'll twist it," she said. "He got money, lawyers, investors." Sarah nodded slowly. "Then we think different." Josephina turned her head. "Different how?" Sarah leaned forward. "You built something big?" "Yes." "He thinks you weak?" "Yes." "He thinks you ain't got nowhere?" Josephina didn't answer. Sarah's voice lowered. "Then let him believe that." Josephina frowned. "What you sayin'?" "I'm sayin'," Sarah said calmly, "men like that move reckless when they comfortable." Josephina's heart started beating faster. Sarah continued. Right now, he worried you might talk, might fight, might expose him. Josephina understood. If I'm gone, she whispered. He relaxes, Sarah finished. Silence stretched between them. It was crazy, dangerous, but it made sense. 2 days later, a photo hit social media. Josephina lying on a Brooklyn sidewalk, unconscious, face turned away from camera. Ambulance lights in the background. Someone had snapped it before the truck pulled off. Caption, Founder found collapsed in Crown Heights. It spread fast. Blogs picked it up, then news stations. But before reporters could confirm hospital details, Nathaniel stepped in. He posted first. Black background, white text. My wife, Josephina Brooks, was taken from us in a violent act. Enemies targeted her. Her body has not been recovered. No proof, just drama. Speculation did the rest. People filled in the blanks. Investors called him. He sounded broken. Friends posted tributes. Cynthia posted crying selfies. No hospital records surfaced. No funeral date announced. Just mystery, which made it bigger. In Queens, Sarah turned the phone so Josephina could see. Nathaniel on camera outside the brownstone. Red eyes, serious face. We don't know who did this, but we will find out. Josephina's stomach twisted. He's good, she muttered. Sarah didn't disagree. He think you gone, Sarah said. Josephina stared at the screen, at her own memorial posts, at people writing rest in power. It felt sick, but powerful too. What if he checks hospitals? Josephina asked. I already handled that. No one here using your name. Josephina leaned back slowly. Pain still there, weakness still there, but something else growing now. Strategy. Nathaniel did interviews, claimed business rivals had been threatening her, said her success made enemies. Investors rallied around him. He stepped fully into CEO role. Public sympathy on his side. He looked untouchable. In Queens, Josephina watched it all, quiet, healing, learning. He thought the story was over. He thought the iron finished her. He thought the sidewalk finished her. But he made one mistake. He spoke too much, and every time he spoke, he added details that didn't match. Josephina sat up straighter in bed. Let him talk, she said softly. Sarah looked at her. You ready to fight? Josephina touched the bandage on her cheek, not gently. I ain't dead, she said. And for the first time since Brooklyn, she smiled. Not emotional, not hopeful, strategic.
Queens, Jamaica Avenue, late morning. Josephina sat upright in the clinic chair, hands folded, back straight. 3 weeks ago, she couldn't sit without help. Now she could hold herself steady. Dr. Hammond checked her chart. White counts up, tumor markers dropping, slowly, but it's working. She let that sit. Working. The treatment wasn't magic, it was brutal. Aggressive chemo, targeted therapy aimed straight at the cervical cancer, IV drips that burned going in, nausea that hit without warning, a nutrition plan that cut out everything she loved, protein shakes, greens, no sugar, no alcohol, no excuses. They weren't just shrinking cancer, they were rebuilding her. You're responding better than we expected, the doctor added, but don't rush it. Josephina gave a small nod. Rushing had cost her before. Sarah walked in right after the doctor left. No dramatic entrance, just business. Folder in hand, glasses low on her nose. You look stronger, Sarah said. I am. And she was. The shaking had stopped. The brain fog was lifting. She could think clearly again. That scared her more than the pain ever did. Clear thinking meant seeing everything Nathaniel had done. Sarah sat down. He filed another statement with the investors, still playing the grieving husband, says he's stepping up to protect the company in your absence. Josephina almost smiled. In my absence. He thinks you won't show up.
Josephina leaned back carefully. Good. They didn't talk like villains plotting revenge. They talked like adults cleaning up a mess. Sarah opened the folder. I went through the corporate filings again. You structured the holding company smart. He has access to operational accounts, but the controlling shares, she tapped the paper, still yours. Josephina exhaled slowly. That was the part he never understood. He liked flashy moves. She built foundations. He's planning something big for Memorial Day, Sarah continued. Charity gala, public event, investors, press, donors. He's going to present himself as the new face. Josephina stared at the wall through a long second. Memorial Day. Crowds, cameras, sympathy. Of course he picked that day. He wants it public, she said. Very. Silence stretched between them. You're not strong enough to go head-to-head yet, Sarah said carefully. Physically. I don't need to fight him, Josephina replied. I just need to stand up. That was the key. If she showed up alive, legally alive, medically present, everything he'd been building collapses. The nurse came in to prep her next infusion. Josephina rolled up her sleeve herself this time. No trembling. Sarah watched her. You sure about this? Yes. Because once we move, there's no going back. He'll know you've been watching. Josephina met her eyes. He's been spending my company's money. That was answer enough. After the infusion started, Josephina pulled her phone out, not to send dramatic emails, to review documents, investor agreements, signature blocks, timelines. Nathaniel had made one mistake. He moved too fast. In one filing, he listed himself as acting CEO permanently, not interim, not temporary, permanent, without a board vote, without majority share approval. Arrogance. Sarah saw it too. He overreached, she said quietly. Josephina nodded. He thought I was already gone. For the first time in weeks, anger didn't drain her, it fueled her. Not loud anger, not screaming, focused anger. Here's what we do, Josephina said. Her voice was steady. We don't stop the gala. Sarah tilted her head. You want him comfortable. I want him confident. Memorial Day would be packed. Cameras, investors, community leaders. And then she'd walk in. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just alive. Sarah closed the folder slowly. If you do this, you need to be able to stand on that stage without collapsing. I will. 3 more weeks of treatment. I know. Sarah studied her face, the scar, the weight loss, the exhaustion she tried to hide. You're not doing this for revenge, are you? Josephina thought about that. No, she said finally. I'm doing this because it's mine. Her company, her name, her hard work. Nathaniel didn't build it. He married into it. Big difference. The infusion machine clicked softly beside her. Her body felt heavy, but not weak. There was a difference now. Weak is when you can't fight. Heavy is when you're carrying something bigger. Sarah stood. I'll handle the legal notices. We file them the morning of Memorial Day. Timing has to be exact. Josephina nodded. No leaks, she added. Let him keep talking. Let him promise things he can't deliver. That could get messy. It already is. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. You're back. Not fully, Josephina said, but enough. When Sarah left, Josephina sat there alone for a minute. 3 weeks ago, she thought she might die. Now she was planning her return. Her phone lit up again, another article praising Nathaniel. She didn't even open it. Let him have the spotlight. Memorial Day was coming, and this time she wouldn't be watching from a hospital bed. She'd be standing, and when she did, he wouldn't see it coming.
Saturday, 3:07 p.m. Bed-Stuy, McDonough Church Hall. The place was packed. Flowers lined the walls, a giant photo of Josephina on an easel near the altar, smiling, polished, successful. The version people liked. Nathaniel stood at the podium in a navy suit, clean shave, measured grief. My wife, he said, pausing just long enough, was the strongest woman I ever knew. Soft murmurs, heads nodding. Cynthia sat in the front row wearing black, legs crossed, tissue pressed gently to her eye, not a tear out of place. Investors filled the middle rows, neighbors from Crown Heights, church members, local bloggers near the back, 2 news cameras set up on tripods. Nathaniel continued. Her dream was bigger than all of us, and I promise you, I will carry that dream forward. That got applause. He lowered his head like the weight of the world was on him. 3 weeks, that's all it took. 3 weeks to step into her company. 3 weeks to control the accounts. 3 weeks to become the grieving husband CEO. He was just about to mention the Memorial Expansion Fund, his big announcement, when the back door opened. Not loud, just enough. A few heads turned, then more. Then the room went completely still. Josephina stood in the doorway. No dramatic music, no rush, just her. Thinner, bald, a faint scar running down her face. Simple cream blouse, black slacks, flat shoes. She looked tired, but she was standing. Cynthia saw her first. The tissue dropped. Nathaniel kept talking for half a sentence before he realized no one was listening anymore. He looked up and saw her. The blood drained from his face. For a second, nobody moved, like the room forgot how. Then whispers started. That's her. She's alive. What the hell? Nathaniel gripped the podium. Josephina! She didn't answer. She walked down the aisle slow, not for drama, because chemo still made her legs weak. Every step echoed in that quiet church. Investors were turning in their seats now, phones coming out, someone already recording. Cynthia stood up like she might faint. This isn't funny, Cynthia said under her breath. Josephina stopped halfway down the aisle and looked at Nathaniel. You forgot to check one thing, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried. Nathaniel tried to recover. Baby, we thought the doctor said... No, she said calmly. You told them I was gone. A ripple went through the room. She reached the front, close enough now to see the panic in his eyes. I was in treatment, aggressive treatment, cervical cancer, stage 3. I signed power of attorney for medical emergencies, not ownership transfer. She pulled a thin envelope from her bag and placed it on the podium. Not a dramatic slam, just set it down. These are the updated filings, she said, filed this morning, reinstating me as active CEO, effective immediately. Silence. One investor in the front row leaned forward. Wait, what? Josephina turned slightly so the room could see her face. I never sold my shares, she said. I never resigned, and I never authorized permanent control. Nathaniel's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Cynthia stepped in. You were dying. Josephina looked at her, calm, steady. And you were waiting. That hit harder than yelling ever could. A low murmur spread through the crowd. Not sympathy anymore. Calculation. Nathaniel tried one last angle. We were protecting the company. By transferring funds into a separate management account? She asked. That got attention. She slid another paper out. Memorial donations, $533,000, raised in my name. People shifted in their seats. She continued, I checked the allocation report. Only 8% went to medical outreach. Now the investors were looking directly at Nathaniel. Cynthia stepped back slowly. You told me I was gone, Josephina said. You hosted interviews. You signed contracts. You expanded without board approval. Nathaniel wiped his forehead. This isn't the place. It is exactly the place. Her voice didn't rise, but it cut. She turned to the crowd. I'm not here for a scene. I'm here because this company was built before him, and it will continue without him. A board member in the third row stood up. Is this true? Josephina nodded once. You'll receive the documentation within the hour. Nathaniel looked small now, suit still perfect, but the confidence gone. Cynthia tried to grab her purse quietly. Josephina saw it. If you leave, she said, calmly, make sure you don't take any company property with you. A few people actually laughed under their breath. Nathaniel snapped. You don't understand what it took to hold this together. Josephina stepped closer. I do, she said, because I built it. That was the moment. Not loud, not explosive, just truth landing in a room full of witnesses. One of the investors shook his head slowly. You said she was unconscious. Nathaniel didn't answer, because he couldn't. Josephina picked up the envelope from the podium. This memorial, she said, looking around the church, was supposed to honor my life. She paused. I'm still here. No applause, just the heavy realization of it. She turned to the pastor. Thank you for hosting, but this isn't a funeral. Then she faced the room one more time. Board members, I'll see you Monday. We have restructuring to do. Restructuring? That word hit like a verdict. Nathaniel understood it. So did Cynthia. Security near the side door had already stepped closer. Not police, not dramatic, just quiet consequences. Cynthia looked at Nathaniel like she wanted him to fix it. He couldn't even look at her. Josephina stepped away from the podium. For a second, her legs almost gave out. Sarah, standing near the side aisle, moved subtly, ready to catch her if needed. But Josephina steadied herself. She wasn't rising like a superhero. She was surviving, and that was stronger. As she walked back down the aisle, people moved out of her way, not out of pity, out of respect. Behind her, Nathaniel stayed frozen at the podium. The giant smiling photo of Josephina on the easel now felt ridiculous. Alive, standing, in the flesh. Outside, Memorial Day traffic rolled past like nothing happened. Inside, Nathaniel and Cynthia felt it. Small, exposed, replaceable. And Josephina? She didn't look back, because she didn't need to. The empire wasn't stolen. It was reclaimed.
Brooklyn Supreme Court. The courtroom wasn't packed with drama. It was quiet. Wood benches, fluorescent lights, papers stacked neatly on both tables. Josephina sat in the second row beside Sarah. No scarf today. Her head was still bald, the scar still visible. She didn't hide it. Nathaniel sat at the defense table in a gray suit that didn't fit right anymore. He'd lost weight. Cynthia sat beside him, jaw tight, eyes tired. No fake tears now, just stress. The prosecutor didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Bank transfers, forged signatures, unauthorized corporate filings, medical neglect, text messages between Nathaniel and Cynthia talking about moving fast before she stabilizes. The evidence wasn't emotional. It was boring, and that's what made it deadly. Nathaniel stared at the table most of the time. He only looked up when Josephina's name was mentioned. She didn't look back. When it was his lawyer's turn, the argument felt thin. He believed she wouldn't recover. He acted under pressure. It was a misunderstanding in authority. The judge didn't react. After a recess, everyone came back in. The room felt heavier. The judge adjusted his glasses. On the charges of financial fraud, misappropriation of funds, and unlawful transfer of corporate authority, guilty. No gasp, just stillness. On the charges related to medical neglect and coercion, guilty. Cynthia's hand covered her mouth. Nathaniel finally looked at Josephina. Not angry, not arrogant, just scared. The judge didn't look at the gallery. He looked straight at the defense table. Sentencing will reflect the scope of damage and intent. The room felt tight. Nathaniel, 8 years in state prison, full restitution of misappropriated funds, permanent removal from corporate control. Nathaniel's face went still. For a second, he didn't understand the words. Then it hit. He closed his eyes. The judge didn't pause. Cynthia, 3 years incarceration, financial restitution as ordered by the court. Cynthia's composure cracked. Not dramatic, no screaming, just quiet sobbing she couldn't hold back. Nathaniel didn't reach for her, didn't say anything. The gavel came down, sharp, final. And just like that, it was over. Sarah exhaled beside her. It's done. Josephina didn't answer right away. Done didn't mean healed, but it meant safe. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited on the steps, microphones stretched forward. Josephina, do you feel vindicated? Any statement on the sentencing? She paused. Then she said one sentence. I'm grateful the truth stood up. That was all. She walked down the steps into the Brooklyn sun, and for the first time in months, she felt her shoulders drop. Not because she won, because she didn't have to fight anymore.
3 months later, Fulton Street. The new sign read, New Dawn Foundation. Under it, support for women rebuilding after abuse and illness. No grand opening circus, no mayor, no ribbon-cutting drama. Just a small group of women inside, filling out intake forms. Josephina stood near the front desk reviewing paperwork. Her hair had started growing back. Short, soft, real. The business was stable again. Investors returned once the court documents became public record. The Airbnb properties were reorganized under tighter controls. A new board, independent oversight. No shortcuts this time. Sarah walked in carrying coffee. You forgot to eat again, she said. Josephina smiled slightly. Working on it. They stood near the window watching 2 women enter, one with a bruise fading under makeup, another holding a child's hand. That's why she built this place. Not for headlines. For this. You didn't have to do all this, Sarah said quietly. Yes, I did. Josephina turned toward her. When I was sick, I realized something. Cancer strips you down. You see who people really are, what you really built, what can survive without you. She leaned against the desk. I built a company, but I also built a life around someone who was shrinking me. Sarah nodded. You're not shrinking anymore. Josephina laughed softly. No. A volunteer approached. We need approval for the emergency housing budget. Josephina scanned the numbers quickly. Signed. Approved. The woman smiled, relieved, and walked off. That small decision meant someone wouldn't sleep in a car tonight. That felt bigger than any courtroom. Later that afternoon, Josephina stepped into her office. The walls were simple. No oversized photos, no awards on display. Just a framed document. Articles of Incorporation. Josephina Alvarez, founder. She sat down slowly. Her body still got tired sometimes. Treatment had ended, but recovery wasn't a straight line. Some mornings she woke up scared the cancer would come back. Some nights she replayed everything. But it didn't own her anymore. A knock on the door. Sarah leaned in. You good? Josephina nodded, then paused. Thank you, she said. For what? For not letting me disappear. Sarah shrugged. You did the hard part. I just held the door open. Josephina felt something shift in her chest. Not adrenaline, not anger. Peace. Outside, the city moved like it always did. Sirens, laughter, traffic. Normal. And for once, normal felt like a gift. She walked out into the main room where a small group session had started. A young woman was speaking, voice shaking. "I thought I lost everything," the woman said. "I didn't think I'd come back from it." Josephina pulled up a chair and sat with them. "You can," she said gently. "It takes time and help, but you can." She wasn't talking from theory. She was living proof. Later that afternoon, after everyone left, she locked up and stood outside the building. The sign above the door caught the last light of the day. New dawn. Not flashy, not dramatic, just steady. Her phone rang. Not an unknown number, not a threat. Her oncologist. She answered. "Your latest scan is clear. We'll continue monitoring, but everything looks good." Josephina closed her eyes. Clear. She thanked him and hung up. Sarah stepped beside her on the sidewalk. "Well?" she asked. Josephina smiled, this time. Real. Clear. Sarah pulled her into a tight hug. No cameras, no audience. Just two women who survived something ugly. Josephina looked down the block at the city she almost lost. Nathaniel was serving time. Cynthia, too. The company was hers again. The foundation was growing. Her body was healing. For the first time, victory didn't feel loud. It felt quiet, solid, earned. She unlocked her car and paused before getting in. Cancer tried to take her. Betrayal tried to erase her. The court restored justice, but she restored herself, and that was the real win. If you've ever been betrayed by the person who promised to protect you, if you've ever had your pain mocked, if you've ever been pushed aside while someone else took credit for your work, this one's for you. Josephina didn't fight with noise. She fought with patience, with evidence, with endurance. They humiliated her. They underestimated her. They counted her out. But she stayed standing. And sometimes that's enough. Drop your city below. I want to see how far this story reached. And tell me, what's one moment where you refused to let someone erase you? Let's talk in the comments.